Hello everybody, welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmith. 680 puzzles solved, and we finished the bricky window. Not every puzzle in the section, but enough of them that I am happy. And so with our newfound fresh perspective on making sure that we're working in logical steps, we'll come back up here. This was the towers, I think. Watchtowers. So things that I kind of hadn't really internalized before. So a 2 is either a 1 and a 3 or a 2 and a 2. 3s must be a 2 and a 1. Obviously 4s are always all lines. But what I'm worried about here is that it's been a while since I've done kind of the introductory puzzles, and from there it's like I don't have a repertoire of bits of logic to start using as we work through. So if we don't have any 2s, we're going to have to start with the 3s and hope I figure something out. At least with these 1s, I have that, except that doesn't have to be the region. Well, all regions must have the same shape. Oh god, okay. Well, this is counting one region. This is counting one region. If this is counting 3 regions, then this has to be different from this. So, could it be something like this shape? No, because you need 2. So the 1s are the 1s. The 3 must do this. And then the 3 gets 3. But all regions have the same shape. So if this is going to be a 2, that line must exist. This must be a different color. It can't be a square. Is it that shape? But it can't be that shape, but that way. Oh no, it can. 3. All right, this is making an amount of sense to me. I just have to then keep this going into the rest of this space. I hope. This is 6. Is this 12 remaining? It is 12 remaining. All right. We got a solution. That's a great start. Boxy mismatch watchtower. Well, that's a line with a 1-2. That's just a group of 4. This 3 then must do this, which suggests this 2 is doing that. This 2 has to do this. For this to be a 3, it's going to either be this combo or this combo. But we have to be boxy. And if we have to be boxy with mismatch, we can't have a second 1 there. So I think that's going to be a 2. Then this is either going to be a 4 or a 6. This is going to be a 4 or a 6. All regions must have different shapes. Has suddenly become an issue for me here. Because I can't do another 2 there. I can't make this 8 long. Let's restart and just restate what we knew here. So this is 1. This is a 2, which means this line must exist, and these 2 are different colors. This is a 3, which must exist like this. This is a 2, so it has to have a line there. Could it ever be that this is this size? This was like one of the only ways that I can get a unique size on the left here and still kind of have lots to work with. Now, I've been trying for really solid logic. I must concede I don't have absolute logic on this. I'm doing a little smidge of vibes. We can have one single tile piece. If that was a 6 and that was a 1, could I do that? I could do that. Nice. Good. Precision 4, non-boxy watchtowers. Start with that. It's a lovely start right there. Non-boxy, precision 4. So all of these must be their own unique 4. But they have to be non-boxy. So this can't be this. Where can we go from here? Well, this can't do that because it breaks this 3. I'm fairly sure we can eventually get to what this piece must exist as. Because as a precision 4, it can't cross this line. It can't be this box. So I think it has to take this tile. It can't take this tile. So, can't take this one. So, that's out. That doesn't necessarily have to be a border, but that can't be somewhere where this region can extend to. It can't be boxy, so it can't do that. It could be this. Possibly this. Except it can't be this because this needs 3 different regions. And if that does that, that becomes a box. So I think we get to that shape there for this. That's what I think I get to. So that has to come out to here. That has to come out to there, which means that makes that be a 4. That has to come out to there. That means that's going to be a different color. How can I make this 2 be happy now is a great question. It would have to be that, right? So that means this is coming down. And now we have to, well, that has to come down to there at minimum. I need to use these 2 to get somewhere now, I think. But I'm uncertain of where. This can't do this, so that must be a line. It's a nice start. If this goes this way, then it can't go that way. Because how would we fill out groups of 4 here without leaving an odd one. So I think that has to go there, put a box around it. That has to go there, put a box around it. That finishes the 3. Can't be a straight line because that would be boxy. So that has to come out to there. That has to come out to there, put a box around it. That comes to there. That goes to there. Great. I'm understanding Watchtower, at least a bit. That's all I could ever want. How are we doing over here? We need 14 more to gold this. And then what was the one we never touched? Just for reference. Area number. That doesn't seem so scary after the last 2 regions we've been working through, but we'll see how we go. Oh my goodness. Well, I feel like the shape bank is going to help a lot. Because, like, for a 3 here, how can we do a shape bank? How can we do 3 with that shape bank? Well, it would have to be some version of this. In a corner, at least. Any other 4s? Yes. Quite a few 4s, in fact. And then at minimum, we're going to get to this, and this, and this, and this, and that, and that. So, right off the mark, there's a bunch of stuff that we do know for sure. Which is nice. Now, how many of these are 3s versus 2s? Uncertain, but we'll keep working at it. You now have 2 already. So it's either going to be this or this. But never this. Okay, so we can put lines in on the ends of the 2s because 3 long shapes can't exist. That's nice stuff. Which then shows us spots like this 3 has to have that be a different piece. And that's going to be true. No, that 3 is on a different corner than this one. But at the very least, that means this trapped piece must go up. We can't do a 3 long straight line, so that must exist. That comes out. Might come down, might not. This only has 2. We already know this is 1, so that must be the second. That must be the second. Put a box around it. This 3 is going to have that be one of them. And then that be the others, I believe. We'll double check that logic, but I was just thinking about this is going to be a domino and 2 singles, but we can't put the single on either of the bottom corners. Because then it blocks one in. So that must be the domino. Then that has to be a single and a single going up. And that has to go up, which blocks that in. We've got lots of bits to work with here, and I like that. This can't make a 3-line straight. This already has 3, so that gets that. That has to come out to be a 2. This 3. The piece in the corner has to come out. That piece in the corner has to come out. That piece in the corner has to come out. For this to get to 3 means that must be a different color. And that can't be a 3 long straight line. Now, is there any reason why these can't be together? I don't think so, so I have to be careful about how I proceed with that. This has to come out to here, and then this has to join up with something. It can't be this, because that leaves that at 2 only. So that joins up to there. That gets a new color. Let's just try to think of things that we know for certain. This needs another 3. Sorry, that needs a 3rd colour. So that goes to there. We've got a lot done so far, and I feel pretty good about most of it, which is nice. We haven't just started colouring anywhere yet, but you know, these things happen. This 3 needs a 3rd, which is going to be that one. That means this 2 has to take that as a domino. This colour has to get out, because it can't be alone where it was. Although it could come down and join that, so don't do that. This can't be this. So one of these has to get out. That can't come across because that blocks that in. And we can't have... Oh, that could exist. Okay, no. Scratch that. What else do we know for sure? This 3 is going to need a domino and 2 ones. This can't be the domino. This can't be the domino. This can't be the domino. Therefore, that's the domino. And I think the same story must be true here. That can't be the domino. That can't be the domino. That can't be the domino. So that's the domino. And then they have to be different. How they colour together, we don't know yet, but I'm going to leave that as it is because I don't know if I have to connect it to this or to this yet, but it needs more for sure. We still haven't decided if that belongs to that or not yet. Right, we got a lot more things that have options now than we did previously. This is going to need a domino and 2 singles, and as we've discussed on this piece and this piece working at edges, this can't be the domino. This can't be the domino. This can't be the domino. So that's a domino, and that's 2 singles. This has to join up with something, but we don't know what yet. That gets a line, that has to come out to here. There's going to be a moment in a minute where we just kind of... I think we're going to get one side of where an L or a domino might be, and it's just going to kind of go around in a central circle, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. But exactly what that looks like just yet, I'm not sure. Because what I don't want to do is guess that this goes left, start solving the puzzle, realize it doesn't work, and then come back and guess that this goes right, or that it's just a domino on its own. I want to find the next thing that says, oh yes, this thing must go this way in one manner or another. Like this 3. Could be a bunch of different ways for that to go. Not that one, but that one. Everything is a domino or a trio. Where's my next line? Or next colour? Next bit of logic somewhere. For you to have 2, it's either going to be this or this. And now I am just colouring, aren't I? So this 3 becomes our crux. Something has to domino up on one side of this 3 or another. Okay. So for this 2 to resolve has to either be this or this. If it's this, that has to go up, and that gets a 4th, which it can't. No. There it is. Alright, there might have been some minor colouring right at the very end there. I can't help it, it's who I am. A 6 down here? Yeah, we're not doing that today, thanks. Fun of you to hide it down there like that, though. Neighbouring regions must have different shapes and watchtowers, but they're all 3s. You are locked in 1. That's going to be that. That's got to be that. Then what? How are we going to have neighboring regions must have different shapes? I'm trying to think if we can do something like this, but we can't. Well, that can't be a 1. So that has to come out. That has to be a different piece for this. If that exists, that has to do that. And that has to do that and that. You can't be a 1 and a 1. How are you getting a 3rd colour? What? You're a 1 single. You can't be a 1 single of your own, so you have to come out to be at least a 2. If you are a domino... If you are a domino, that means this line must exist. And for this 3, you've got 1 here, 2 there. That's your 3rd. And if you've got a domino, that must exist. We could do that, couldn't we? Okay. So it's not just dominoes and pieces next to it, because we can go long and then change how the colouring works thereafter, but I need some solid logical steps to know exactly how this is going down. So, off the top, this is a single. This has to have a colour, so this 3 must get this. It must. If we work downwards, because we can't do this or this, so this line must exist. And that line must exist, and these must get colors. Now, where this guy gets its domino versus a pair, I don't know right now. So what else do we know? We know that this can't be a single, so that's going to come across. This 3 needs a third color, so it's getting this one. This 3 already has 3 colors, so we're going to add either this into here or this into here, one of the two. This 3 already has 2 colors, so we're either going to add this into here or this into here. And that's where the things that I think are definite start to fall down for me. Neighboring regions must have different shapes. I feel like there's got to be a giant shape in here somewhere. Whether that's like a big long one like this or something. So you've got 3, so we can't add a new color to this. Mingle shape means they have to be different. Where do we go with that? If that were to come down, those would have to be separate colors. That would get a domino. That would get a domino. That would get a domino. And we get this kind of dominoes around a single pattern. Except neighboring shapes must have different, so we can't do this. We can't do this at all. Mingle shape is what I'm probably not using enough here. Like, okay, this piece, currently the 2, can't have a second 2, so this must come out to here. And if that must come out to there, then this must be a different piece for this 3. Neither of these can be too big because this piece exists. So that means I think that this is going to be a 3. And something else is going to happen along the way. Now, you can be a 1 if this is not a 1. That puts you at a 2, but you can't be a 2, okay. You can be a 1. No. This is a 2. That becomes a 3. You get those lines. That's about as far as I'm, like, super certain. Could this ever be a 1? It could. Could be a 1. Can't have 2 1s next to each other, though. And I've been doing a lot in that previous puzzle. We did a lot of this. But any one of those as a solution for a 3 leaves 2 1s next to each other, which cannot be. So, what does that mean? Great question. Is that this either has to be a 1 Is this next to a 3, a 2, and a 2? Okay, no, it might have to be a 1 because it... Could it ever be a 4? I doubt... No, it can't be a 4 because that can't be a 2 next to it. So I think this is a 1. Is it just this brick pattern repeated? Ha ha ha! Spied that very late into the game, but once we had those top 2 rows, I was like, wait, everything is all 3s, and if I can do that here, then it works out nicely. All right, that is a good half hour of decent Watchtower solves, and so, as I've said before, I'm not going to push my brain too hard because we all see how poorly that ends up going when I do. For now, though, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.